All right, it is hump day, but before we get to hump day, guys, we gotta do all the news that's fit to print or talk about on Bradshaw Live. Bob Woodward came out with a book. Now, do you know, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, who Bob Woodward is? Did you ever see the movie All the President's Men?
No.
You know what the movie All the President's Men is about?
No.
Do you know who Bob Woodward is?
No.
No. Did you ever hear of something called Watergate?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Definitely know that.
All right. Did you ever hear of Woodward and Bernstein? It's not a law firm. It's not Spar and Bernstein before it became Woodward and Bernstein. It's not a law firm.
Okay.
Woodward and Bernstein were two reporters for the Washington Post that broke the Watergate scandal and caused Richard Nixon to resign from office.
Oh, yes.
They were the ones. They were the ones who were the news reporters. They worked for the Washington Post, and as a result of their reporting and Deep Throat, remember Deep Throat? Not the porn movie. Not the porn movie. This is not Hump Day. That's what they actually called the guy who was Yo-Yo thinks I'm talking already about Hump Day stuff. Dr. Love thinks it's already Hump Day. No, Deep Throat was a character. Was somebody who worked for the Nixon White House. And he was the one who was spilling all the beans on Richard Nixon.
I remember that from history class.
Yes.
I remember laughing like that in history.
It was Deep Throat. No, you will not find that movie on Pornhub tonight, Yo-Yo. I'm sorry. So nevertheless, Bob Woodward and Bernstein, by the way, Woodward and Bernstein, no relation to this Bernstein. I wish, but no, we know just like two different Smiths. Like two different aliases, like two different Contrerases, maybe, 100th cousin back in the 1500s we share somewhere. No relation to me, but they were the ones, and they won Pulitzer Prizes, and they changed history. They caused Richard Nixon, a free press in the United States, caused Richard Nixon to resign because they exposed his crooked deeds of breaking into the Watergate facility and stealing the Democratic secrets for the election that Nixon ultimately won. Sound familiar? So anyway, Bob Woodward now has become this great presidential historian, living historian. Every president wants to be interviewed by Bob Woodward because, they believe that he would give a stamp of approval. Every president has an ego and wants... Trump wants to be on Mount Rushmore. Okay, Trump has said that he's the best president since Abraham Lincoln.
Did he really say that?
Yes, he did. So Bob Woodward has interviewed every president since Bush on. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. He is the living presidential historian that every president wants to be interviewed. So Trump gave Woodward right after the impeachment, but before coronavirus became public, gave Woodward 18 interviews over about a 5 or 6 week period in February and March. He is the foremost reporter. Him and Bernstein are probably the two most famous, foremost reporters in politics that cover politics that are alive right now in the United States of America. So he came out with a book that, because people say, well, why would Trump talk to this guy for 18 interviews? Because Woodward is the man to talk to if you want to solidify your history, your ego. You want to go down in history as a great president. He's the guy who's going to document it or not document it. So according to a new book now by Bob Woodward titled Rage, Trump says back in February that he knew the coronavirus was more deadly than your strenuous flu while he was intentionally misleading Americans. On January 28th, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, who later tested positive for the virus, told Trump, according to Woodward in this book, this will be the biggest national security threat you face in your presidency. This is going to be the roughest thing you face. Matthew Pottinger, the National the Deputy National Secretary Advisor agreed. He told Trump it was evident that the world faced a health emergency on par with the flu pandemic of 1918, which killed 50 million people. This is all happening while Woodward is interviewing Trump in February before anybody knew that coronavirus left. Remember, we were talking about coronavirus in China, and Trump said, it's a China thing. It's not coming here to the United States. We're all safe. You don't have to worry. There's nothing to worry about. We have it under control. Coronavirus isn't coming here. We've shut down China. The China virus isn't coming here. When he knew in February, because Woodward was interviewing him,
that's stressful.
That wasn't true. He knew this was going to be a world pandemic. He knew that the coronavirus travels airborne. It doesn't travel by touch or by HIV virus because you have sex with somebody. So he knew that this was extraordinarily contagious, yet he was telling people, don't worry, go on your cruise ships, go travel. You go to the Super Bowl, go to different parties and events. You don't need to wear a mask. And he knew that was not the case. He had the opportunity in February to do something about it, and he chose not to. In a February 7th call, Donald Trump said, you just breathe, I'm quoting, you just breathe the air and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than ever your strenuous flu. You know, people don't realize we lose 25,000 to 30,000 people a year here. Who would ever think that, right? Talking about the flu. He added, but this is more deadly. This is 5% virus versus 1% and less than 1%. You know, this is deadly stuff. He knew that 5% of the people who get coronavirus die. At that time, Trump was telling the United States of America the virus was no worse than the flu, remember? He said, oh, it's like a flu. And it would soon disappear, like magic. And he knew that wasn't the case. It would be several weeks before he would publicly acknowledge the virus was no ordinary flu. And that was after he banned Europeans from coming at the end of March. Now think about, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, think about what somebody would think. And by the way, let me say this. Trump said, because he was at a press conference today, they asked him, did you really say this stuff? And he said yes.
Here it goes.
He said yes.
Wow.
He did say it. And he said, and I'm quoting, to be honest with you, I wanted to always play it down. I wanted to reduce panic among Americans. So he admitted it now. He admitted he has lied to Americans for 6 weeks and said you have nothing to worry about. What about what do you say to the people whose family died, whose family went on a cruise ship and got stuck on a cruise, got deadly ill, died from the coronavirus? All of the people who got sick and died. We had Kristen Urquizas on. Her father listened to Donald Trump in March. Remember, we interviewed her a week ago. She spoke at the Democratic National Convention. And she said, my father believed Donald Trump. He went on that cruise ship. He got sick and he died, and he was a healthy man. And his only pre-existing condition was believing Donald Trump. What do we say to her? What do we say to the other family members? 180,000 Americans died, and you can't say every death is on Donald Trump, obviously, because that would be unfair. All right. Obviously, the coronavirus was going to make it here to America. But what I can say, also, that is very fair, is that a lot of it could have been prevented. If he was honest with us in the beginning, if he told us to do preventable measures, wear masks, social distance. He stopped Europeans coming from February, but he didn't want to panic anybody. He didn't think we can handle the truth.
How is that legal? Because medical personnel like doctors and nurses, they can't lie to patients and just say, hey, you're going to be all right, when they know that they're dying or that they have a terminal illness. So how is it okay that the president of the United States did that because it's illegal for doctors to do that.
Well,
so how is it?
Well, doctors have take I think it's called a Hippocratic oath or a Hippocratic oath or some Hippocratic oath.
It's an oath. Yeah.
Right. That they're, but politicians, they just take an oath on the Bible. I guess.
Well, it's on the Bible.
I guess the Bible doesn't mean much.
Doesn't that mean more?
What I would say is, if I'm a voter, how dare Donald Trump say that I'm not strong enough, I'm not mature enough, I'm not intelligent enough to know what the truth is? How dare he think that I can't make my own decisions? How dare he?
That obviously was for his sake. Like that, it definitely wasn't for us. He doesn't even care about us. So, like, why would he say that he was just trying to keep us from panicking? He doesn't care about us. So it has to be something to save face for him or something.
Nesquik, do you have friends or family who got sick?
Yeah, I actually had my ex-boyfriend's father passed away of COVID.
Oh, it's terrible.
Perfectly healthy.
Perfectly healthy. Mm-hmm. His only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump.
And yeah, he was an essential worker, maybe not even 60 yet, that gentleman, I feel.
And I wonder if you speak to him. And I don't know if you do or not, or maybe you don't want to speak to your ex-boyfriend. It's perfectly okay. But
no, when his dad died, I felt it was relevant.
You felt,
for me
yes,
to
of course, right.
But
I wonder how he would feel. I don't have a family member die, thank God. But I wonder how family members who survived, who had a family member die of COVID, especially early in the pandemic. Not so much now because we know a lot more. But early in the pandemic, when Trump was lying to the United States of America and said everything is okay, go about your business. We've got it under control. You don't need to wear a mask. We banned China, so it's perfectly fine. It's not contagious, and if it is, it's nothing worse than a cold or a flu. And he knew all of this wasn't true. He knew it wasn't true, and even admitted it today. He knew it wasn't true.
That's crazy.
I wonder what family members whose family died. He killed people because people didn't have the opportunity to make their own decisions, what they need to do to keep themselves safe. They weren't given true information. And Donald Trump sits here and says fake news. What's more fake news than what he just told the American public for 6 weeks?
Yep.
Nobody can sue him for that?
No.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, I'll tell you another crazy story that came out about coronavirus that blows my mind. Did you ever hear of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally?
No.
Okay, there it is.
No.
Okay, it is the largest motorcycle rally in the United States. You know how Americans love their motorcycles,
Oh, yeah.
All right, Freedom Road, American flag, nothing like freedom on the road, right? So we get all the motorcycle people all together once a year in Sturgis, South Dakota, for a huge motorcycle rally. And by the way, that motorcycle rally was held in South Dakota over the summer. The event took place between August 7th and August 16th. Roughly 7,000 people attended.
Wow.
I'm sorry, 466,000 people attended. My apologies. In a town of 7,000. So 500,000 people attended this motorcycle rally. Most of these people did not wear masks. Most of these people rode motorcycles. Most of these people believe Donald Trump. There's nothing to fear about coronavirus. They are part of a cult that believes that the media is telling these untruths. The media is not telling the truth. The doctors aren't telling the truth. The nurses aren't telling the truth. There is nobody in a hospital getting sick and dying. This is all fake news. We don't need to wear masks. We don't need to social distance. Because obviously 460,000 people felt the need to ride their motorcycles into South Dakota in August to attend this rally without masks. Probably most of them Republicans. I don't know for fact, but probably most of them Republicans. Now, what happened after this rally? According to the San Diego State University, more than approximately 20% of every coronavirus case that was contracted by a human being in the United States between August 2nd and September 2nd goes back to this motorcycle rally. 20% of the Americans who got coronavirus got it as a result of somebody who attended this rally and brought it home. 1.4 million new coronavirus cases because people decided to go to a motorcycle rally in South Dakota. It should have been called off.
That's wild.
This is wild.
266,000 out of 1.4 million cases. Let me get the numbers correct. Now, these coronavirus cases generated health costs in excess of $12.2 billion. $12.2 billion in health costs, 266,000 coronavirus cases, all that trace back to a motorcycle rally in South Dakota.
Of Trump supporters.
Wow. The same Trump that lied to us for six weeks. Got it. Same Trump that lied to us for 6 weeks.
Now, while we're on the subject of books, Michael Cohen came out with a book. He published his memoir, Disloyal. A lot of books coming out right now, you know. By the way, Dr. Love's book is coming out next Wednesday on Hub Day. What will it be, Doctor, right? Well, Michael Cohen came out with a book called Disloyal. And he's now been on the circuit now talking about his book. And now, for those who don't remember, Michael Cohen was Donald Trump's convicted lawyer. He was convicted of lying to Congress in order to protect Donald Trump over his links to Russia and payments to women, which may have violated campaign finance laws. He's still serving a 3-year sentence, but Cohen's book reveals Trump's racism and hatred of Barack Obama and his admiration for Vladimir Putin and his business interests in Russia. Other revelations include the mutually beneficial relationship with the National Enquirer tabloid and his brutal treatment of women, including a vulgar sexual remark about a 15-year-old he did not know was Cohen's daughter. Cohen also gave an interview to NBC in which he called the president a cult leader who should resign to receive a pardon from Mike Pence and thereby avoid criminal charges. I mean, you know, his lawyer's calling him a cult leader. People just, you know, it's like when he says...
His lawyer.
One
of his lawyers.
One of his lawyers. When you know, Donald Trump says I can go down Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I could get away with it, you know, he means it. He means it.
Absolutely.
Disgusting.
And he believes it.
Yeah. Yo-Yo.
Is it?
Your thoughts on the vaccine virus. AstraZeneca. They are one of the leading companies trying to put out a COVID vaccine. They put a hold on their vaccine research, and the reason is because somebody who was a test patient got very, very ill, and as a result, it triggered a pause to the vaccination process to allow a review of safety data. The nature of the adverse reaction and when it happened were not immediately known, though the participant is expected to recover. The spokesperson described the pause as a routine action, but they are not pausing. They are not pausing coronavirus research. They need to get it out. That's not routine. Something happened. Yo-Yo. Something happened. Something happened.
Ain't faking it. Ain't faking it.
Let's see what else is happening here quickly before we get to Hump Day news. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement announced on September 1st that it made more than 2,000 arrests in the largest sweep of the pandemic. In New York City, 83 undocumented immigrants were arrested in the sweep. ICE agents made at-large arrests at residences, work sites, traffic stops across the country, including in large metropolitan areas like Los Angeles, where ICE apprehended the most immigrants. I don't know if that. I think ICE just gets people anyway. You know, catching 83 undocumented people, you know, in the last 2 or 3 weeks in New York, I don't think is. I think that's kind of what they do every week or two. I think they put these news, you know, publications out just to scare the hell out of everybody, or perhaps also to boost, you know, Donald Trump's standing amongst people who don't like immigrants, you know, to get them to vote. But I don't see, you know, catching 83 undocumented immigrants in New York City in the last couple of weeks as, you know, some like amazing, you know, sweep that ICE did. They catch people every week. I want to know why I know that? Because people call me every week to represent them in deportation. So if they only caught 83 people in New York, that means I must be representing half of them. Half of the people. That's impossible. All right. So because we represent a lot of people in removal. All right. I think we got to get to Hump Day News. What do you think, guys? Let's have some fun.
Do it.
Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. I have in my hand here Dr. Love and Miss Quick. All of the Hump Day News that's fit to print. In my hand.
Can't wait, please.
Right in my hand. So an Ohio woman became concerned. She was making a stew. And she became concerned about the meat she purchased at the supermarket while making dinner. Lamia Sinkfield of Akron reported herself on Facebook Live. There she is, showing off her stew and beans. She's famous in Ohio for this. However, as she stirred her food, she discovered a phallic-looking cut of meat that didn't quite match the smoked turkey tails that she thought she was going to get. And this is on Facebook Live.
Oh, no,
she said, is this what I think it is? There's a hole at the tip. And shared she was soon planning to call the grocery store, save a lot. I am sure she saved a lot if she got this as part of her stew.
Gross.
She also checked her store receipt to ensure she purchased smoked turkey tails and not something else. She captioned her Facebook Live with, "I'm so confused," saying she was unsure whether the food was pork or turkey tail or perhaps male genitalia. She said the police came and they examined it, and it is, in fact, a stewed penis. They're calling, yes, it is. They are calling the medical examiner out here right now in the coroner because somebody is missing their stuff. The woman said that is disgusting. You shut that off, Julian, please. I can't look at it anymore.
Wait, that's a human?
That was, I don't know if it, wait, one second. Okay, no, it's definitely, not mine. Yo-Yo? You okay?
You good there?
You good?
We're fine.
You're fine?
We're fine
okay,
down here.
yes. All
Dr.
right.
Love
It's not
is fine.
Dr. Love. I know it's not Uncle Brad's. It's not Dr. Love's. But it is a human, yes. The woman said 10 officers came. That was disgusting.
Wow.
Do not show that picture again. But apparently, here's a fun fact. Did you know this, Nesquik? I'm sure you did. I'm sure most men know this. Okay. Okay. There are no bones. There are no bones in the human penis. Did you know that?
Yeah, that I knew.
Yes. All right. Meanwhile, it was not. Yes, it was, Jill. It was a penis.
It
Jill
could
said
not
it
have
is not
been.
a penis.
No, they look like it had bones in that.
I gotta remember what they taught me in law school. I gotta remember what they taught me in law school. If you don't know the answer, keep reading. Jilly's right. How after an investigation by the Summit County Medical Examiner's Office, they did a thorough investigation. They looked at the meat. They did a DNA. They concluded, in fact, it was pork and likely a pigtail because it contained a bone.
Bones. Okay.
So that is how they determined it was not a male
at the top, there's a
genitalia.
bone there.
There was a bone at the top. There it is.
I don't look like no pigtail.
But I'm going to tell you something. Who is this woman who's making these tails? What's her name? I don't know if I want to go to her home.
Look how she looked.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go to her home for dinner. And I don't. Lamia Singfield of Akron, Ohio. I'm gonna skip her stew, and I certainly am not gonna go to Save-A-Lot to buy any pork. That's what I've learned from this story.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. Meanwhile, an artist in Cleveland has made a portrait of Trump's face using more than 2,000 dildos. It has been about 3 years since Cleveland artist Stephen Manka came up with this great idea to use 2,000 metal dildos. He hadn't quite hit on the right idea to how to use them. So he bought these 2,000 metal dildos. He didn't know what to do with them. They're made of solid copper. The dongs were decades old, and someone, he won't divulge the source, who prefers to remain separate from their eventual use, had offered them to him. So as the Trump presidency went on, Manka struck up with the idea to create Trump's face out of 2,000 dildos. He bought them from the anonymous source and projected Trump's face down on the ground of his studio and set about, over the course of a week, the process of creating the Trump dildo face. Manka is hoping to take the temporary horizontal installation on the road.
Epic.
Is that something, Yo-Yo, you would like to hang up in your home?
Yeah, no.
A 2,000 dildo Trump face.
You don't want to take a bunch of dildos to make a giant one? No?
No. I'll leave it for you, Miss Quick.
Now,
I'm good.
Now the artist says, I don't know if Trump supporters will like it or whether it would change anyone's mind. Maybe someone would look at it and think, yeah, this guy's a dick and I'm a dick for helping him win. Ha ha! There you go. Meanwhile, right. Angela, this is the Hump Day News. What can I tell you?
Right.
Meanwhile, Angela Bomeo once again found himself in the hot seat Monday, 4 years after he went viral for sauntering down Route 9 in New Jersey wearing a pink Speedo. The chef and restaurant owner's skin-bearing walk of shame was an agreed-upon punishment for finishing dead last in his fantasy football league. As part of the agreement, the last-place finisher each year has to walk for 10 minutes holding I Suck at Fantasy Football down the popular Toms River thoroughfare. This year, Bormio sucked once again, but he found himself much more prepared for the consequences. He told the New York Post, I had a drink to loosen up, and I just said, it's showtime. In 2016, the video of Bormio in his banana hammock was picked up by the news outlets from as far away as New Zealand. It also made him a local celebrity in Lakehurst, New Jersey. He said months later, people were coming in and asking if I was the pink Speedo guy. We have a lot of elderly customers, and ladies in different clubs would come in and be giggling. But this year, he lost again. He also tossed his famous pick number in, and after scouring he threw it away. After scouring a few stores, he found an extra large bikini bottom in the women's clearance section at Walmart. He said it held everything where it was supposed to be. It was the best $3 he ever spent. And there he is, running down I Suck at Family Football.
He needs to stop betting.
Yeah. And finally, police in central China. Police in central China's Hunan province detained 5 men for streaking at a shopping plaza on Monday after the men lost a bet at work. The men were punished with administrative detentions for 5 or 7 days for intentionally exposing their bodies in a public place. According to police, at noon on Monday, some citizens called the police reporting they witnessed 5 naked men in their city center. Hump Day, guys. Sometimes it's good.
You lose a tail.
Sometimes you lose a tail, right? We knew it was going to be all downhill with the Pig's Feet Penis story, right? Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.